The Council of Europe project, strengthening freedom of the media and establishing a public broadcasting system in Ukraine. The Council of Europe is the only international organisation that's developed a comprehensive set of standards, guaranteeing the right to freedom of expression and information. Projects aiming to support the media reforms have been implemented by the Council of Europe in Ukraine since 2008. 5 media projects were carried out in the past 9 years. They were financed by the Council of Europe, European Union, Government of Canada, and Council of Europe member states, which have made financial contributions to the action plan of the Council of Europe for Ukraine for 2015 to 2017. Key achievements: establishment of the public broadcasting in Ukraine. Transformation of the state broadcasters into the public service ones has been one of Ukraine's obligations before the Council of Europe since 2005. Therefore, continuous support to the process of establishment of the public broadcasting in Ukraine remains an important priority for the media projects.
Єдина справжня надія і допомога йде саме з Ради Європи. Починаючи з експертів, яких вона привозить, які постійно консультують нас, закінчуючи нашим позиціонуванням на ринку.
The Council of Europe experts carried out the assessment of the law on public television and radio broadcasting in Ukraine. Statute of the public broadcaster, procedure of the supervisory board members' selection, and other key documents.
Неперевершена європейська експертиза найкращих експертів, які дійсно радили, аналізували всі документи, які з'являлись, народжувались, порівнювали з практикою європейською і надавали нам такі уроки європейського досвіду.
Urgent issues and challenges, namely those related to the transition from state to public broadcasting, selection of the supervisory board, choosing a stable model of financing, which appeared in the course of the reform implementation, were discussed at international conferences, roundtables, and press conferences organised by the media projects of the Council of Europe. Also, media projects supported information campaign on public broadcasting in Ukraine and prepared a handbook with the Council of Europe's key documents on the public broadcasting standards. As a result, Ukrainian public broadcaster was registered, its reorganisation process was launched, and the broadcaster's new management was elected based on the transparent competition. Implementation of the media reforms. Important legislative changes were introduced with the support of the media projects of the Council of Europe. International and local experts of the Council of Europe carried out the expertise of the important draft laws and other regulatory documents in the sphere of media, all of which were adopted, in particular, 1. Amendments to the law on public television and radio broadcasting of Ukraine. 2. Amendments to the legislation on the transparency of media ownership. 3. Law of Ukraine on reform of state and communal print media. And 4. Strategy of the Ukraine's legislation development in the sphere of freedom of speech and media activity in accordance with the European standards. The first institutional mapping analysis in the sphere of information policy and media in Ukraine and the analysis of the Ukrainian Ombudsman's competencies and legislation in the sphere of access to public information were completed by the Council of Europe experts. Also, expert assessment of the Ukrainian criminal legislation concerning offences against media professionals was carried out in 2017. These two analyses laid the foundation for further legislative changes in the media sphere, and civil society activists, jointly with other national partners, have already started working on these changes.
Надані експертизи у сфері аудіовізуальних послуг, суспільного мовлення, роздержавлення, безпеки журналістів, прозорості медіавласності знайшли своє відображення, власне, в ухвалених законах. У нас є закон про роздержавлення, у нас є закон про суспільне, у нас є величезно зареєстрований законопроект про аудіовізуальні медіапослуги, і так само ми тепер знаємо, хто є власниками українських медіа. Саме ця діяльність є дуже ефективною і вона дійсно допомагає розвиватися українському законодавству.
Raising effectiveness of the regulator's operation. Cooperation with the regulator of the media sphere, the National Council of Ukraine on television and radio broadcasting, resulted in a number of achievements. In particular, 1. The methodology of media monitoring on compliance of the licenses with their obligations was elaborated. And 2. Regulators' capacity on media monitoring, digital switchover and transparency of media ownership was strengthened, as a result of the trainings and public events with the representatives of the National Council. In addition, a web module and software for collecting and processing data on media ownership were developed.
Ми маємо методологію з оцінки висвітлення виборів. Ми її отримали від експерта Ради Європи і ми її уже застосували. Я особливо хочу сказати про роботу щодо захисту дітей від шкідливого контенту.
Access to public information and personal data protection. With the support of the Council of Europe media projects, the laws on access to public information and personal data protection were adopted. Also, the capacity of the Secretariat of the Ukrainian Parliament Commissioner for Human Rights to fulfill its supervisory function over these rights was strengthened. Representatives of the Ombudsman's Secretariat benefited from the thematic trainings and study visits during which they learned best European practices. The platform for the civil society organisations Ombudsman Plus was created in order to improve the access to the public information. Judges and civil servants were trained to properly apply the rules on the exercise of the right to access public information. International events and expert roundtables devoted to this right were held. Also, 3-day school on data protection was launched at the Ukrainian Catholic University in Lviv. Lawyers, medical personnel and police officers were trained on the personal data protection matters.
По-перше, завдяки Раді Європи ми створили систему Омбудсман Плюс. Найбільшим досягненням, мені здається, було створення спільно з громадськими активістами онлайн-курсів, які сьогодні дозволяють нам охопити якомога більшу кількість державних службовців.
Internet governance. With the support of the Council of Europe media projects, the civil society awareness on human rights for Internet users was raised. The Guide on Human Rights for Internet Users was translated and widely distributed. Training courses on Internet governance and human rights were developed and added to the curriculum of the National School of Judges and the respective curricula of the National Academy of Public Administration and its 3 regional institutes. The multi-stakeholder dialogue on open, comprehensive and transparent approach to the Internet governance in Ukraine, according to the Council of Europe standards, was strengthened. Gender and media. The Council of Europe's media projects place a special focus on gender issues. Thus, the projects held a number of international events on this issue, translated and distributed the main recommendations of the Council of Europe, for which this topic remains a high priority. During the joint programme of the European Union and the Council of Europe Strengthening Information Society in Ukraine and the Council of Europe project Strengthening Freedom of the Media and Establishing a Public Broadcasting System in Ukraine, alone more than 250 public events were held, involving over 8,000 participants. In addition, 30 publications were produced, 15 grants awarded, 9 courses and 5 methodologies elaborated, 5 assessments of the legislation provided, 10 monitoring campaigns and 4 social surveys held. A lot have been done, but there is even more work ahead. Our main achievement is a long-lasting, fruitful cooperation with our national partners, state authorities and civil society organisations. Further media projects will address new challenges in the sphere of media based on the achievements of the previous projects and programmes. New media project is planned to be launched in the framework of the new action plan for Ukraine for 2018 to 2021. The video is created in the framework of the Council of Europe project, strengthening the freedom of the media and establishing a public broadcasting system in Ukraine.